This week on Real Talk with Gene Price.
What is food? It nourishes us, it satisfies hunger, and it's essential for survival. But like art, music, movies, and books, food tells a story that we can pass on to generations. It is one of the oldest forms of communication and connection, and it's extremely powerful. It defines us. It tells us who we are. It tells us where we're from. It's part of our identity.
To think of cooking as an act of love. To prepare good food is to give health and happiness to those you love and yourself. My act of love starts early in the morning in my kitchen. Our kitchen is the center of our life, where we start and end our day. Good food has become the center of my life because it is the crossover of health and happiness, the two most important things in life.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight on Real Talk with Gene Price. We have such a fun show in store. And I don't know how many of you out there like to cook, like to just spend some time in the kitchen. But my guest tonight spends time in the kitchen. She's an excellent chef. She has a lot to offer and so many great tips that she's going to give us tonight. But we want to take this time to thank everyone that joins us every Wednesday. Thank you for your support on behalf of myself and my production team. We want to thank you, because without you, we cannot have the audience that we have. So thank you again for joining us. You still have time to like. We want you to tag. We want you to share. We want you to be part of the live studio audience that's going on right now, today, Wednesday at 6:30. But without further ado, help me welcome my guest tonight. Her name is Shaniqua Cousins. Come on out to Real Talk.
Too much?
No, how are you? How are you?
How are you?
I am good. I am so glad that you are joining me tonight. Thank you. Oh my goodness. This is going to be a great show. We're going to be talking about some cooking. We're going to be talking about some, food for the soul. We need to go a little deep tonight. But why don't you take the time, Shaniqua, to introduce yourself and, of course, tell my viewing audience a little bit about you.
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me. So honored. And I get to be in my happy space, my kitchen.
Yes.
My kitchen. So, in a nutshell, first, I'm a Southern girl, grew up in the kitchen with my grandmother and my mom and my aunts. And so I always grew up around just the love of cooking and tradition. Left home about at the age of 18 and joined the military, and have seen so many parts of the world and explored food and connected with people and all of those things. Got married about age 22, 23-ish, had my kid about 25, and that's when it hit me. Like, honey, you're going to have to be in that kitchen. You're going to have to cook these meals. And so my love for cooking started once I became a mother. And so I like to tell people now, 18 years later, I'm a mother, of course, but I'm an author. I'm a home enthusiast, a home cook enthusiast, and I'm a health and life coach. And so I found a way to pull it all together and do the things that I love right here in my kitchen.
Wow. Well, I can say firsthand, I've had an opportunity to be in that same kitchen. And it is exactly as she just explained. Shaniqua, wow, you have so much to offer. And I don't want to tell your whole story because we didn't even talk about the oils and different things like that.
Yeah.
But I have to ask the question as we begin this dialogue tonight. How important do you feel cooking and being in that kitchen? How do you feel it's so important, that family time?
Oh, it's so important. There are so many studies that have been done that show the connection between depression and childhood obesity and just pure joy and gratification. and just with kids, especially a sense of self-esteem, a boost in their self-esteem.
Yeah.
So many studies have been done that shows an increase in the positive things and a decrease in things like childhood obesity. Because what's really happening is you're not only eating the food, but you're having an opportunity to make a connection. You're building family tradition. And just through the hands-on approach, like I grew up, my grandmother would take the collard greens and we would have to de-stem the greens and chop them up, or the macaroni and cheese, we got those big blocks of cheese. You would chop it up. But through that, you were learning and exploring and seeing how meals came together. There was a lot of stuff that was caught and taught in the kitchen. And so it's a connector. Food is a connector. I bet you probably can't think of too many events that you've attended where there wasn't food involved.
Right.
You go back in your memory bank, but there's so many great benefits to just sitting down and having a meal together. Not on the run, but actually sitting down and having a meal together.
Yeah. And Shaniqua, that was such a segue, because that's where I was going to go next. I was going to ask you to share with me and the viewing audience some of those special moments that you just mentioned, learning how to do the collard greens. And now, I was born in Virginia. I'm a New Yorker, and but I don't cook like that. I don't know how. And I used to feel bad about it. I cooked when my kids were little, and we laugh. My husband, I laugh. He teases me. He cooks. I'm the cleaner. I'm the organizer. But I have to go a little deeper, because have you noticed that with social media, with phones, there's a lack of connectivity? Because time at the phone at the dinner table, they're on their phones, and that's like my husband says to my grandkids: stop using your phone at the table. There's less talking one to the other. So can we kind of talk about that a little bit? What's your take on that?
So for me, in our house, we don't bring the phone to the table, and that's just always been the rule, if you would. So that means me as well as everyone else sitting at the table, and so that forces a conversation. How was your day? What did you explore? Or if we did bring something to the table, if it was a night where we were watching a movie or something like that, then that's acceptable. But in general, the table is set literally. That someone is setting the table. My daughter, she's been setting the table since she was like maybe 5 or 6 years old. And so we all have a role where we're bringing it all together. And the phones are definitely left. Because you're right, you're not making a true connection to the people here. You're looking at outside of where you are. So if you're not being present, then where are you? And that time is so important, because you get to learn so much about each other and just make a true connection. And that's really what we're all after, right? We want to make a connection to the other people in our lives.
Yeah, it's a sense. To me, it gives a greater sense of belonging. Knowing that, you know what I'm saying, you have that mindset that you can connect one toward the other. And I'm glad you mentioned that you trained your daughter from the time she was young to be a part of it. And that's what I'm saying about the belonging part of it. She can come to the table and sit down and say, Mom, and tell you about her day or tell you about something that she's going through. And so much about children, they don't have that. So then you sometimes don't know what's going on the inside of them. I want to go a little further, because I hope my viewing audience can see this right here. That bowl that she has sitting there. Okay, I'm just talking about the bowl for just.
Let me bring it closer. So
I want to talk about that, because Shaniqua has a cookbook, which is phenomenal, and she makes these meals that are, oh my goodness, I can't even put it into words. But I want to talk about that, because I want to know, how did you decide to make the meal that you made? Like, what was your thought process in preparing it?
So, real talk, because we're on Real Talk.
Yes,
I took out some chicken breast yesterday. Had one large chicken breast left over that I didn't prepare, and I said, I'm going to have to be on Real Talk in about 2 hours. What can I grab out of the cookbook that could be ready so that I could then jump in the shower, get dressed, and all of that? So I diced up some, and on Sunday I went to the farmer's market. So I had a fresh haul of all my organic veggies. So I figured out if I just sliced up the chicken and sliced up those veggies, something would come together. And it was one of the meals out of the cookbook. And that's really how I cook. I look for things that are, we eat mostly organic in our home, because there's, again, so many benefits of eating organic, right? And so We eat mostly organic. I prepare meals by a meal schedule, if you would. And so that way I don't have to really overthink it. There's always my pantry is always stocked with staple items, and that's something that I have in my cookbook. And so I didn't want to just tell people to cook a recipe, to make a recipe.
Right.
So in the cookbook is designed so that you understand the difference between organic and non-organic, why it's important to shop. It's organic or local. I talk about the benefits of different oils and fats to use, as well as how to keep your pantry stocked, just not with items that you're preparing, but the essentials, like having a good set of pot and pans, having a good knife, things like that. So when by the time you do get to the meal, you're ready. So that's how I actually live. I try to keep my pantry and my fridge stocked so I don't have to overthink it, and I can just make something on the fly or literally make something out of my cookbook.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, I want to read some of the audience is chiming in. Angela Rooks, one of my dear friends, chimed in tonight, and she said, I think it's equally important to make a connection with yourself, especially about eating. She says, I'm single, so I've had to learn to just relax and enjoy my food, especially if I ventured into the kitchen to cook. Let's talk about that for a second. That's a great point. I want to talk about the relaxation in cooking. Do you find, because I've seen you in the kitchen, I've been in the kitchen. What's it like to relax and just create? Just sort of like what Angie's talking about.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
So for me, it's very therapeutic to cook, right? But I'm with Angela. If I'm sitting alone eating, it looks like this. For years, when I was in the office, I would take a placemat and I would sit down, I would close my computer, I would have a drink, and I would sit and eat my meal just like this at my desk. Wow. So here's my health coaching side of it. You cannot run from a bear and eat a sandwich at the same time. Okay. So when you are under stress, because if you're under distress, if you're trying to run from a bear, you're not thinking really about eating a sandwich. What typically happens, I'm going to get a little bit of sciencey on you. Your digestive tract is shut down when you're under stress. So it's better to be in a relaxation state when you're eating, because you literally can assimilate the nutrients that's in the food that you went to the farmer's market or to your grocery store. You got all the good stuff. Now you want to make sure that your body can assimilate the nutrients that's in the food. The best way to do that is through being relaxed, enjoying your meal. Now I like to tell clients that there's a 20-minute meal challenge. Most people will eat their meal in about 5 minutes on average. We're taking like 2 to 3 bites. That's what most people do. Right. But you really want to try this challenge. Try to sit down and eat a meal for 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Be the slowest person at the table and watch how you feel so much more full, and you feel much more satisfied, because really it takes about 20 minutes by the time you've eaten the food for your brain to register with your brain that you're actually full. So just slowing down and enjoying the meal, tasting all of the ingredients. You've already taken your time to, prepare it. Don't try to just scoff it down, just rush it down. You want to enjoy. So I'm with her. Whether you're alone or if you're with other people, I think you should enjoy your meal, because that's how I do it.
That's beautiful. We were talking about the phones when you're eating together, but what about, I don't know if you've ever had this happen, when you go out to dinner with somebody, you're on their phone.
Yeah.
Yes, how'd that make you feel? You're literally at dinner, right? We're trying to connect, because you talked about connectivity, but then the person, the whole time you're together, they're on their phone. How do you stimulate?
That's distracting. It's really distracting, but it's like for me, it's distracting because you actually want to be present. You want to be present. So I think it's better to be a good leader, be a good role model, and just you not do it. And people will pick up on the cues. They'll pick up on it. I don't know that you have to be the police when you're out to dinner with other people saying, hey, put your phone down. We're here. Because they're adults. I'm sure they're an adult. If it's a kid, you may want to give them some guidance. But I think you just have to be a good role model. Whatever it is that you're expecting other people to do, you do it first.
Do it. Absolutely. Yeah.
And then here's the other thing. We all have an option. You may not want to go out with that person that's on their phone all the time. Because it's making you stressed, and now you can't assimilate your nutrients.
Yeah. It's true. about fast food for a second.
Okay.
You know, fast food is to me is never good for you. I just
Yeah.
don't see where it's good for you. Tell me your opinion on fast food opposed to like you have right there, the home cooked meal. And I
Well, you
understand
said-
it's working moms, but I just want to get your opinion about that.
yeah, the nutritional value is nothing compared to what you could prepare at home.
Yeah.
Fast food is about money, making money,
Mhm.
right? And so they have a budget that they have to abide by to get food out that's quick. Anything that you could eat, if you could eat an entire meal for $2, it's probably not the best for you.
Yeah.
And so the fat content, the salt content, and the actual quality of the food goes down drastic. Well, the fat and salt go up dramatically, and the quality of the food goes down drastically. The thing that you want to focus on more, and I'm not opposed to fast food because I'll run through a Chick-fil-A parking, drive-through every now and again, okay?
Right.
But what you want to do is I have an 80-20 rule. 80% of what we eat in our home is prepared by me. I leave the 20% for nights when I want to go out with my girlfriend or if we want to go out for something to eat. And if you're controlling mostly what you're eating, the chances of you getting the chances of what's the word that I'm looking for? I don't want to scare anybody, but the vitality and the health will be better if you can control what you're eating more.
Yes.
So when you're thinking about control, you're thinking about literally about the salt. You're thinking about the quality of the product that you're about to consume. You're thinking about the sugar and the fat. Those are the things that really cause havoc on our bodies.
Right.
And so those are the things that we really want to be controlling.
Right. You know, as you were talking, Shaniqua, and I know the title of the show tonight is called Food for the Soul. I wanted to kind of pivot a little bit. I want to talk about how food can, why people eat, what they eat, and then what does it do for them? Because we talk about the inner man sometime, right? Like I'm a person, if I'm stressed, I can't eat.
Yeah.
I lose weight, I just can't eat. But then there's some people, Shaniqua, that if they're stressed or have something going on in their life, they eat a lot. Let's kind of talk about the inside man and how food plays a role in either perspective.
Yeah. Well, it's behavior. It's behavior. It's habitual, right? So we all have habits that we run to, right? And so there's mechanism, there's triggers that happen in our lives, and those habitual things that we're doing, it's our soother, it's our comfort zone. And so it's through behavior modification that we make those changes. And behavior modification really doesn't come into play until there's a disruptor of some sort. So a lot of times when we're reaching for that thing or we're not reaching for that thing, we don't even realize it because it's automatic behavior, right? Those are the habitual things. And so it typically will take something external for it to register, for it to trigger with us that, hey, maybe this isn't working for me. And then quite frankly, just to be frank, we have to make a decision about what it is that we want, right? And what it is that we believe about ourselves, because you typically only are acting on what you actually believe.
Right.
So really having that inner dialogue and having that inner conversation with ourselves are so crucial. Or someone who doesn't have a bias, who doesn't have, who can really give you guidance and really give you the word, give you true professional services and things like that can really help us and assist us. Right. For the most part, we won't do it. That's just truth, you know?
Yeah, it's true. I want to go a little, again, I want to pivot again because this is so good. I want to would like for you to speak to the parent that's struggling with their child, that they're picky eaters. My grandsons is like that. And it's, to me, when we came up, Shaniqua, we ate whatever was put in front of us. And if you didn't eat it, then you starved.
Yeah.
Let's talk to parents right now. How do they deal with that?
Just let them eat what they like, right? You want to make sure you put before them what you've prepared. Because for me, I grew up that way. You ate what was put before you, right? Yeah. And so I think if you if you're bringing in good choices and they're only eating certain things, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's a season of life, right? Unless you're witnessing there's a dramatic drop in weight or there's a dramatic change in behavior. Everyone has taste buds that change every 7 years. And so my daughter, when she was little, I was like, okay, what's going on here? But just let them be. It'll be just fine.
Right.
Give them the things that are good for them and let them pick the things that they're enjoying. We all are like that. There's a lot of things that we don't like. And so, but I wouldn't say be in your kitchen like a short order cook where you're just preparing all these different things for little Johnny, but give him the things or her the things that they like and just it'll be okay.
Yeah, that's good. Renee chimed in and she said that her granddaughter also is a pig eater. But I want to put on the table, Angela has a question. She said, I'm an emotional eater. How can I make healthier choices when life gets in the way? That's a very good question.
Yeah. So, Angela, thank you for sharing that. And the thing that I want you to know is that you have command over your emotions, right? And so there's a difference between our motivation and there's a difference between and discipline. And so discipline, I just heard this the other day, didn't even know this would come up, but discipline, I heard this definition the other day that said discipline is commanding yourself, is putting a command on yourself and forcing yourself to do it, right? Okay. Motivation is the feeling. I don't feel like working out. I feel sad. I feel whatever, right? You can discipline yourself in a certain area and the feelings will catch up. Right. Now, I say that loosely because and I don't want to take it lightly that there are different triggers. If you feel like you need help with the thing that is causing the emotion, now that's something totally different. You want to really get support with that and find out what is it that's really driving you to that eating. Because you're really, if I had to peel back the onion a little bit, you're doing something that you don't really want to be doing, right? You're eating when you really don't want to be eating, or you're going to the foods that you really don't want to be partaking in. So let's really get down to why. What is the thing that's causing that? And then just focus on the fact that you are well. You are well. And just let that resonate with you. I am well. I am whole. I can discipline myself. And then get the support that's needed.
Right. That was really good. And Angela, of course, is chiming in. And she said, absolutely. That was very good what you said. I like how you gave us that perspective of the discipline and the motivation.
Yeah.
That's great. Like I'm listening to it and I'm going, wow, that really does make a lot of sense that what you just said. I like that. So Derek chimes in and he says, sometimes we're ignorant to what's in our food and how something is made. Reading labels and researching how perhaps it is made may change your desire to eat it.
Absolutely.
Like Shaniqua, that's how I feel about chitlins. No disrespect to anybody that likes them. I'm sorry. Just the fact knowing that it's a pig's gut.
Yeah.
I just can't bring myself to it. I know that's not reading the label, but that's reading what I know.
Yeah.
I think sometimes that does play a role in what we eat because I find that I don't want to eat like that,
Yeah, 100%. And in my cookbook too, I share how to read food labels, and it comes down to this: if it's more than 5 ingredients on the label, you probably shouldn't eat it. If you can't pronounce what's in the food, you probably shouldn't eat it. There shouldn't be colors and red number 10. Green number 7, that stuff isn't natural, right? If it's salt, let it be salt. If it's a strawberry, let it be a strawberry. If it's a blueberry, let it be a blueberry. You want to eat food as close to its natural state as possible. And Derek is absolutely right. If we have to stay informed, not just entertained, be informed because this is the only vessel we have, right? And this vehicle has to take us through to so many purposes God has called us to. But for the most part, we're oblivious to taking care of this vehicle, and we'll take care of our vehicles with the 4 wheels. So step back, read labels. It took me about a year. I'm not even kidding. About a year to really understand food labels and what we should be consuming and what I shouldn't be consuming. So I was the lady in the store reading the
Right.
labels, holding up the line, didn't care.
Yes,
So
yes.
I was trying to understand it. Now that automatic behavior, I know what to look for. I can read a label within like seconds, and I know it. And I just keep going to the same things that I know, and I'll look at the back every now and then to see if something switched up. But for the most part, we have to stay informed, not just entertained. This is the only vehicle we have in this earth realm, and we have to take care of it.
Wow, that was very informative. Renee said. Brian chimed in and he said, "That's good." Elise has a question on the table for you, Shaniqua.
Hi, Elise.
She said, "How do we know what's good and what's not good?" Maybe that goes back to reading of the labels. I'm not sure if Elise means. Yes, maybe if you can write in the chat, Elise, a little more definitive so Shaniqua can answer, because that can go in so many different ways. But go ahead.
So okay, so let's just go back and to our ancestors, right? We ate what was given to us, right? But we ate very natural. There's been a lot of talk about soul food, but soul food really is real food when you think about it. They ate veggies, they ate protein, they ate some form of carbs, but it was natural foods, right? Now they added in the stuff that was given to them, but hey, it was good food. So you want to eat food, period. If it's good, it's in its closest state. So for instance, a pork tenderloin and a sausage come from the same animal, but they are two different processes, right? A pork tenderloin is the pork up from the actual pig. The sausage has been processed and there's been things added to it, smoke and flavor and color and all of that to make it look the way that it is. So you would rather eat that versus a sausage. Chicken breasts are just that. They're just chicken breasts. You don't want to buy chicken breast that's been seasoned and injected and all of the other things. You want to buy it in its natural state. If it comes in a bag, it's probably not best for you. If it comes in a bag, and quite frankly, if it has a label, you want to limit those things. So again, in the cookbook, I tell people when you shop the perimeter of a store first. You ever notice how on the perimeter of a store, those are perishable items? You ever notice that?
I never noticed that.
The veggies,
yeah,
the dairy, the meats, the ice cream and all of that stuff, they're perishable, right? Mm-hmm. You shop those things first, then shop the middle. By the time you get to the middle, you're going to be looking at your budget like, now, I don't have time to buy these chips and dips and all of that. So you want to limit the stuff in the center of the store and shop the perimeter. Okay. You'll come out so much better. You will feel so much better just through swapping out small things. I mean, just through doing that one little change in your routine.
Wow. Well, we're going to take a commercial break. Shaniqua, this is so good. People are chiming in. Listen, this is awesome. So we're going to take a commercial break, but we'll be right back with Shaniqua Cousins, Food for the Soul. Be right back.
This week on Real Talk with Jean Price.
What is food? It nourishes us. It satisfies hunger. And it's essential for survival. But like art, music, movies, and books, food tells a story that we can pass on to generations. It is one of the oldest forms of communication and connection, and it's extremely powerful. It defines us. It tells us who we are. It tells us where we're from. It's part of our identity.
To think of cooking as an act of love. To prepare good food is to give health and happiness to those you love and yourself. My act of love starts early in the morning in my kitchen. Our kitchen is the center of our life, where we start and end our day. Good food has become the center of my life because it is the crossover of health and happiness, the two most important things in life.
Welcome back to Real Talk with Jean Price. Listen, we're having a great time tonight talking about food for the soul, talking to a chef, somebody that just knows the ingredients and all that good stuff. So, Shaniqua, we want to welcome you back to Real Talk with Jean Price. Come on back to the show. This has been so good. You kind of talked a little bit about your book, which is a wonderful cookbook. What's that? Look at that. Look at that. Flavored with love. Listen, if you want your copy, we'll make sure that her information goes across the screen. You want to get this book because I love it because, like Shaniqua said, it's not just a cookbook. It's giving you some great tips to kind of take a look at and really think about. What's one ingredient you love to cook with?
I start just about most of my dishes with the trio, because you know I'm a Southern girl.
Yes.
So I'm going to start with onions, peppers, and celery, which are so beneficial for you. There's so many great benefits of it. And that's whether I'm doing a stir fry or I'm doing a stew or even making salads. I love starting with those things. Fresh garlic, love it. And then here's a tip about garlic. You want to buy garlic cloves, the fresh garlic versus the stuff that's in a jar. Okay. And so there's been a lot of research that's been done on that. Again, getting back to your natural state, buy the fresh garlic cloves versus the stuff in the jar. So that's like, in a lot of my dishes, I would say that's a starter for a lot of the things that I prepare.
Wow. So kind of tell my audience about your oil, your olive oil.
Oh,
Yes.
So going back to, again, controlling the fats, right? Mm-hmm. For me, starting out with a good quality olive oil, and I have it right here, as a matter of fact. I just so happen to have it in the.
Well, we want to see it.
So it's about controlling the fats.
Okay.
So it's the Flavored with Love olive oil. And for me, it's something that I cook with every day. And so, again, I wanted to be able to have it in my home. And, I turned it into a business because I share the benefits of olive oil with people all the time. And, I'm a businesswoman night and day. So I figured out how could I turn it into a business. And so this is extra virgin olive oil from Italian olive oil. So it's 100% olive oil. And again, when you read the ingredient, it should only say what it is, and it's only olive oil in here. Okay. And so this is a starter for me with just about every meal, and you can drizzle it on salads. You can drizzle it on veggies and things like that too. So this is definitely a starter.
Okay, I want to go because, my husband, I think it's his doctor. He can correct me later on after the show. But somebody mentioned to him that because he drinks olive oil sometimes.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay, so he'll go and he buys the 100% and then he drinks it.
Yeah, it is so good for you. Okay. I want everybody, when they're done, do some research on olive oil and the benefits of it, and it is so beneficial for you. This is a good omega-3. So you want to consume. And here's the benefit. Let me just go into omegas, right?
Yes.
When you consume a lot of processed foods, the oils that they're using are like your canola oil. It's your vegetable oils, right? That's a lot of your omega-3s and 6s, and all of the stuff that we're consuming. When we don't have we want to have a good balance of omega-3s in our body. So that's where you get your olive oils, your flax seeds, your fish oils. You want to have a good counterbalance of that stuff because all of those other oils cause inflammation in our bodies. So you need something to help balance that out. So that's where you get your omega-3s from. And so this is a good fruit oil. Olive oil is a fruit, not a veggie. So just keep that in mind. Wow. Stay away from cooking with the other stuff on a daily basis. Okay. Also, grass-fed butter is another fat that we want to cook with. Why? Because the cows are eating grass. Mm-hmm. Cows shouldn't be eating corn and other things. They should be eating grass. And so when they're eating that grass, that butter is so nice and rich and yellow. Right. And you want to have that kind of butter because there's a lot of good nutrients in that butter. So that's another good starter.
That's good. Well, Angela chimed in, just ordered the book and the oil set. Can't wait. Angie. All right.
I brought it closer too. I brought it over so you can see it.
Awesome.
It'll be a signed copy for you.
Awesome. Wow, that's good. That's actually, and though Shaniqua and I are like bestie friends, and we talk about this stuff, but to actually hear you explain it, because normally, I want to go to your house, I'll be coming again one day, and just eat. But to hear you speak and explain, I never knew salt or olive oil as a fruit.
Oh, it is. It is.
I just never thought about that. That was very informative. What do you think makes you different from other chefs, from other people?
You know what? I just show up as myself, no matter where I'm at, right? Because look, everybody else is taken, and so I'm just gonna be who I am, and I think that's what makes you unique. And when you show up as your authentic self, it's undeniable.
Right.
It's undeniable. There's no knockoff. There's no whatever. You just got to show up as who you are. I'm so filled with humility and appreciation for everything that God has done in my life that I can't show up and be anybody else. And so I'm just on this journey of continuing to see who He is how He's evolving me, and doors are opening and all of these things. And who am I to not be that? You know what I mean? And so whether I'm cooking, whether I'm coaching, or if I'm speaking, you're going to get me. And that's just what I believe in. I think we all should do that. Show up as yourself, no matter where you are, because that's the best version.
That's right. That's right. Another thing that I want to tell my viewing audience, and I'm going to tell you a comment that Angela actually said again. Shaniqua also makes juices, right?
Yeah.
Juice you mix. Can you kind of tell us like one of the juices that you make? Remember the one you were telling me you made something with berries or something?
Yeah. So I do a concoction. It's a little elixir that I do every day, just here, and it's a combination of pomegranate juice, the antioxidants.
Yeah.
You wanna protect your body, so there's free radicals all in the air everywhere we go, and you want to keep the antioxidants, vitamin C, peppers and things like that, grapeseed oil, things like that. So I use pomegranate juice, things that are dark. Think about this: when you eat, you want to eat with color, and so dark pomegranate juice, orange juice, and guess what? Your grandmother was saying it probably for years: apple cider vinegar. Good old apple cider vinegar. Okay. You know why? Because apple cider vinegar is fermented, and it's putting good probiotics in your body. You don't have to keep buying all those other things. A little swig of apple cider vinegar every day, and I've been giving it to my daughter for years. Look, I'm just like, here you go. Open up. And so I literally drink that every day, and it's so good for digestion.
Yes.
And and it's getting good bacteria in your body. You want to have good bacteria in your gut. Going back to what I said earlier about the digestive tract, that is the place where you want to keep really healthy. So you want to be out in the sun, getting vitamin D, taking vitamin D supplements. You want to make sure that your digestive tract is as healthy as it can be. And so getting a good probiotic in there, making sure that you're, just being more in a relaxation state, as close to a relaxation state as possible, it helps your immune system. When your digestive system is on track, your immune system is on track.
Interesting. Okay. So, wow. Powerful. Well,
I talk about this stuff forever, Jean. I
know. Well, I already got planned. I already wrote something in the private chat about part 2. So I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Lakeisha chimed in and she said, "I love topics like this. My capstone in grad school was a veganism in the minority community. So I've grown to love exploring with fruits and vegetables." Yeah. So Lakeisha, thank you for that. And Angela chimed in and she said, hold on one second. She said, "I'm so excited, and Real Talk has become such a part of my life. And this topic is right on time as I am on a quest to be healthy." Wow, look at the timing of God. I love this. Starting in the kitchen. So Angela, we want you to know that we're grateful that you're a part of our Real Talk family, because we don't see people as just audience, that's what we do, but we see our audience as family. So thank you, Angela, for writing it. That's so powerful. Shaniqua, what are your final thoughts to the viewing audience or to my viewing family that you'd like to say tonight?
Just take care of the skin you're in. Like really value your vitality, value your health, and value your sense of being. Food isn't just food. Don't just eat it on the fly. When you're thinking about eating, think about how that food is going to then give you fuel and energy to really do the things that you've been called to do.
Yeah.
And so again, just loving the self from within and then going out doing the things that you have been called to do. That's so important. And so don't just take it haphazardly. Don't eat on the go. I like to tell clients, you know, who are you being while you're eating? Think about that. If I'm always hustling and bustling and doing all this stuff, who am I being? Rest in it. Just have an appreciation for and gratitude for the meal, and the quality of the meal is so important. But more importantly, just be who you are. Be who God has called you to be. And be an even better version of that just through a simple meal and the supplements and things that you're taking every day.
Yeah. I think it's the getting started. I think
Yeah.
when people can get started, I think just hearing and remembering what you're saying tonight would kind of motivate them. If somebody needed to get in contact with you, can we put her information on the screen? Because maybe there needs to be like a buddy system just to say, well, Shaniqua, I'm trying this, words of encouragement or something like that. So we wanted to put your information on the screen, and Shaniqua can, if you want to say it to my viewing family, you may, please feel free.
Yeah, it's ShaniquaCousins.com. It's SHANIQUA.com. And I'm a certified health and life coach. And for me, it was about, I really love seeing people live well. I love seeing people live well, and just having the strength and the vitality to do the things that we've been called to do are so important, and not being bogged down and stuck in situations that are not serving us. And so really what a coach does, a health and a life coach, we help you get unstuck from things that are no longer serving you well. And I just have, it's such an honor and a pleasure to see people get unstuck and really start living the life that they have been called to live.
Wow. Well, listen, to my viewing family tonight, we want to thank you, Shaniqua, for being on Real Talk. I think the consensus says we need you to come back for part 2. And that's that.
Maybe, look, for part 2, I'll actually cook.
We are having you come back. But let me tell you, Angela wrote in again, and she said, our temple. And she's right. Thank you so much, Shaniqua and Pastor Jean. Beautiful women empowering us all. And that's really what we do, right? Shaniqua, and let me tell you this much, and this is off topic, but I've had the privilege of being on Shaniqua's show. And it just like you see her now, it's exactly how she is. I've been to her home. We've seen each other face to face. You're just a beautiful person inside and out. And I think you even explaining further and about eating and so many great things, it really just made me have more of a respect for you than I already do, because you're my good friend. But this was so good, Shaniqua. Thank you so much. And thank you for helping us, the people that are listening. Because though I'm the host, I'm listening. I'm paying attention. I just want you to know. I may not cook a lot, but I'm paying attention out there. I promise you, I'm paying attention. Lakeisha just said, I wish I could have caught it from the beginning. However, what I caught was great. Well, Lakeisha, we have to tell you, there is a replay. When the show is over, we'll ask you to go back and just kind of take a look at it. So, Shaniqua, thank you. We had a great time. And listen, to our audience, to our family, thank you. See us next week, where we will be back with Real Talk with Jean Price. Good night.
Bye.